William Wordsworth. Okay, Daffodils, 1815 version. I wander lonely as a cloud that floats on high over past the fair vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside lake evening trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze, continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way. They stretched in never-ending line along the margin of the bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not but be gay, it's such a jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. For oft when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude, and then thy heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. So that was that. Good job, William. William Butler Yeats. When you are old and grey, and full of sleep, and nodding by the fire, take down this book and slowly read and dream of the soft look your eyes had once, and of their shadows deep. How many loved your moments of glad grace, and loved your beauty with love false or true, but one man loved the pilgrim soul in you, and loved the sorrows of your changing face, and bending down beside the glowing bars, murmur, a little sadly, how love fled, and paced upon the mountains overhead, and hid his face amid a crowd of stars. I didn't understand a word of that. The Tale of Custard the Dragon. Belinda lived in a little white house, with a little black kitten and a little grey mouse, and a little yellow dog and a little red wagon, and a really truly little pet dragon. Belinda lived in a little white house with a little black kitten and a little grey mouse, and a little yellow dog and a little red wagon, and a really truly little pet dragon. Now the name of the little black kitten was Ink, and the little grey mouse she called her Blink, and the little yellow dog was sharp as mustard, but the dragon was a coward and she called him Custard. Custard the dragon had big sharp teeth, and spikes on top of him and scales underneath, mouth like a fireplace, chimney for a nose, and really truly daggers on his toes. Belinda was as brave as a barrel full of bears, and Ink and Blinks chased lions down the stairs. Mustard was as brave as a tiger in a rage, but Custard cried for a nice safe cage. Belinda tickled him, she tickled him unmerciful. Ink, Blink and Mustard, they rudely called him Percival. They all sat lagging at the really truly cowardly dragon. Belinda giggled till she shook the house, and Blink said "weak," which is giggling for a mouse. Ink and Mustard rudely asked his age, when Custard cried for a nice safe cage. Suddenly they heard a nasty sound, and Mustard growled, and they all looked around. "Meouch," cried Ink, and "ooh," cried Belinda, for there was a pirate climbing in the window. Pistol in his left hand, pistol in his right, and he held in his teeth a cutlass bright. His beard was black, one leg was wood. It was clear that the pirate meant no good. Belinda paled and she cried, "Help, help!" But Mustard fled with a terrified yelp. Ink trickled down to the bottom of the household, and little mouse Blink was strategically mouseholed. But up jumped Custard, snorting like an engine, clashed his tail like irons in a dungeon. With a clatter and a clank and a jangling squirm, he went at the pirate like a robin at a worm. The pirate gaped at Belinda's dragon and gulped some grog from his pocket flagon. He fired 2 bullets, but they didn't hit, and Custard gobbled him. Every bit. Belinda embraced him, Mustard licked him. No one mourned for his pirate victim. Ink and Blink and gleed and gyrate around the dragon that ate the pirate. That was atrocious. Belinda still lives in her little white house with her little black kitten and her little grey mouse, and her little yellow dog and her little red wagon, and her really truly little pet dragon. Belinda is as brave as a barrel full of bears, and Ink and Blink chase lions down the stairs. Mustard is as brave as a tiger in a rage, but Custard keeps crying for a nice safe cage. Well, how tragic. I don't think Custard got his cage after all of that. What a sad ending to that. Ode on Solitude. Happy the man whose wish and care a few paternal acres bound, content to breathe his native air in his own ground, whose herds with milk, whose fields with bread, whose flocks supply him with attire, whose trees in summer yield him shade, in winter fire. Blessed who can unconcern apostrophedly find hours, days, and years slide soft away, in health of body, peace of mind, quiet by day. Sound sleep by night, study and ease, together mixed sweet recreation, and innocence which most does please with meditation. Thus let me live, unseen, unknown, thus unlamented let me die, steal from the world and not a stone tell where I lie. The Blind Man and the Elephant. It was 6 men of Indostan, to learning much inclined, who went to see the elephant, though all of them were blind, that each by observation might satisfy his mind. The first approached the elephant, and happening to fall against his broad and sturdy side, at once began to bawl, "God bless me, but the elephant is very like a wall!" The second, feeling of the tusk, cried, "Who? What have we here, so very round and smooth and sharp? To me 'tis mighty clear, this wonder of an elephant is very like a spear." The third approached the animal, and happening to take the squirming trunk within his hands, thus boldly up and spake, "I see," quoth he, "the elephant is very like a snake." The fourth reached out an eager hand, and felt about the knee. "What most this wondrous beast is like is mighty plain," quoth he, "'tis clear enough, the elephant is very like a tree." The fifth, who chanced to touch the ear, said, "E'en the blindest man can tell what this resembles most. Deny the fact who can, this marvel of an elephant is very like a fen." The sixth no sooner had begun about the beast to grope, than, seizing on the swinging tail that fell within his scope, "I see," quoth he, "the elephant is very like a rope." And so these men of Indostan disputed loud and long, each in his own opinion exceeding stiff and strong, though each was partly in the right, and all were in the wrong. Breathes there the man, except from the Lay of the Last Minstrel. Breathes there the man with soul so dead, who never to himself have said, "This is my own, my native land," whose heart hath ne'er apostrophe within him burn apostrophe deed, as home his footsteps he hath turn apostrophe deed, from wandering on a foreign strand. If such there breathe, go, mark him well, for him no minstrel raptures swell. High though his titles, proud his name, boundless his wealth as wish can claim, despite those titles, power and pelf, whatever on earth pelf means, the wretch, concentrated all in self, living shall forfeit fair renown, and, doubly dying, shall go down to the vile dust from whence he sprung, unwept, unhonour apostrophe deed, and unsung. Crumbs, Walter Scott, that's a bit harsh. He's saying that if you're not proud of your country, then you're a waste of space. Basically, that's what he just said. Now then. One word is too often profaned for me to profane it. One failing too falsely disdained for thee to disdain it. One hope is too like despair for prudence to smother, and pity from thee more dear than that from another. I can give not what men call love, but wilt thou accept not the worship the heart lifts above, and the heavens reject not the desire of the moth for the star, of the night for the morrow, the devotion of something afar from the sphere of our sorrow? The Fool's Prayer. The royal feast was done. The king sought some new sport to banish care. The royal feast was done. The king sought some new sport to banish care, and to his jester cried, "Sir Fool, kneel now, and make for us a prayer!" The jester doffed his cap and bells, and stood the mocking court before. They could not see the bitter smile behind the painted grin he wore. He bowed his head and bent his knee upon the monarch's silken stool. His pleading voice arose, "O Lord, be merciful to me, a fool! No pity, Lord, could change the heart from red with wrong to white as wool. The rod must heal the sin, but Lord, be merciful to me, a fool. 'Tis not by guilt the onward sweep of truth and right, O Lord, we stay. 'Tis by our follies that so long we hold the earth from heaven away. These clumsy feet, still in the mire, go crushing blossoms without end. These hard, well-meaning hands we thrust among the heartstrings of a friend. The ill-timed truth we might have kept. Who knows how sharp it pierced and stung? The word we had not sense to say. Who knows how grandly it had rung? Our faults no tenderness should ask. The chastening stripes must cleanse them all. But for our blunders, oh, in shame, before the eyes of heaven we fall. Earth bears no balsam for mistakes. Men crown the knave and scourge the tool that did his will. But thou, O Lord, be merciful to me. Be merciful to me, a fool. The room was hushed. In silence rose the king, and sought his gardens cool, and walked apart, and murmured low, Be merciful in me, a fool! Me! A visit from St. Nicholas. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads, and Mamma in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled down for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from the bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave the lustre of midday to objects below, when what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be Saint Nick. More rapid than eagles his course as they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen. On Comet, on Cupid, on Donder and Blitzen. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle mount to the sky, so up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with the sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. And then, in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples how merry, his cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard of his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like wee, like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim, ere he drove out of sight, Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night. Happy Christmas. Well, that was the Mr. X Poetry Hour. Or Poetry 10, 20 minutes. If that. So yeah, the Mr. X Poetry 20 minutes is done. Maybe get lost.